In this video, we're going to talk about landing your very first law job. That might be an internship, a clerkship, or maybe it's actually your first law job as a lawyer. In either case, all of the same principles apply. So here we go. First thing you want to do is you want to go through all of your social media accounts and clean them up. You may be thinking, oh, but it's a private account. They won't be able to see it. I'm telling you, even in big cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco, partners in law firms are probably only 2 or 3 degrees of separation away from you, meaning that they know somebody who knows somebody who knows you. They have young people working in their firms, they're all on social media, and they have access to be able to get into people's social media accounts through these different levels of connections. So you got to get rid of all the bikini shots. You got to get rid of the shirtless shots, the beer drinking shots, all the partying shots. You just got to get rid of that stuff. Why? Because there are going to be hundreds of applicants trying to get this job. And the easiest way for a hiring partner to sift through the applicants is by process of elimination. And if they see photos that suggest that you're unprofessional or irresponsible or have a certain political viewpoint, they're just going to use that to mark you off the list and you won't even get a shot. So go through your social media, clean it up. Specifically on LinkedIn, it's important to understand that 95% of all lawyers are on LinkedIn. This is a statistic published by the American Bar Association. So if you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. And once you get on LinkedIn, make sure your profile is professional. Make sure your picture is of you wearing a suit so that you can make the impression that you're ready to be a lawyer or that you are a lawyer, and that's what your objective is. So get your profile tightened up. Resumes are great, and there's a lot of information about resumes. You can go to your career services office and get tons of information online for resumes. We're not going to talk about that, but it's social media and LinkedIn where hiring partners are going to get the best sense of who you are. The next thing you really want to get clear on for your first law job is, what is your objective? Are you trying to do transactional work? Do you want to get litigation experience? Do you want to be an estate planner? Do you want to work for a city or county or for the government? Do you want to work in criminal law? You need to have a pretty good sense of what you're trying to go after, because it's the only way you're going to be able to narrow down your search and be effective at trying to contact the people who are going to have those jobs and opportunities for you. So I would spend a good amount of time getting very clear on your objective. Again, I don't care what you write on your resume. I'm just talking about what it is you want to do. I find that too many law students and early lawyers just take whatever they can get, and they don't have an objective. And the problem with not having an objective is that nobody knows how to help you. If you'll say, oh, I'll take anything, well, then people are thinking of nothing. But if you say, hey, I absolutely want to work in criminal defense, well, then they're going to have a better chance of helping you. It may cause them to think in their mind, oh, I know somebody who does criminal defense that I can introduce you to. So get very clear on your objective. Once you're clear on your objective, you want to make a target list. You write down at least 10 employers, potential employers, that you would want to work for. My entire point is, do a little bit of research. Know what the landscape is out there, which firms are doing what kind of work. Show prospective employers and people you're going to interview with that you understand where the opportunities are and that you've matched your interest with those opportunities. And a target list is going to be very useful in doing that. There's usually 3 ways in which people get their first law job. 1, you might get recruited. Now, you're probably going to be at a top law school. You're probably going to be the top of your class, or maybe you achieve something really great in a trial competition or something like that. And as a result, you get recruited. So this video may not really apply to you because you already have an opportunity. However, In any case, you do want to be prepared, and we'll talk about that in a second. The second way you get a job is by responding to a job posting. But guess what? They're getting about 100 or 200 resumes and inquiries from other people just like you, and perhaps even more qualified than you, and certainly less qualified. So your chance of getting that job is extremely low. It does happen, but again, you don't want to spend too much time responding to job postings, especially if they're not exactly on point of what you want to do. So the third way is the most common way, and it's the most effective way to get a job, which is through a personal referral. Now, you've heard this before. Oh, so-and-so got the job because they knew the partner, or they were the niece, or they were the nephew, or whoever, whatever, right? That happens all the time. Every best job gets obtained through a personal reference, and those jobs rarely ever get posted. In fact, most jobs that are posted tend not to be very good jobs, because if they were good jobs, there wouldn't be a vacancy. So get clear on that you don't want to be responsive to job postings. You want to find opportunities before they become job postings, or you want somebody to hire you because it's you, not because they have a job opening. So how do we get a personal referral? You're going to use your objective, which is, I want to work in corporate law. And you're going to have your target list, which is going to have a list of 10 or 20 firms on there that all do corporate law. You're going to talk to all of your peers in your law school. And you have to understand that your peers in law school are not your competition. They are your resource. You need to treat them as part of your network and part of your team to help you find a job, as you will help them find a job. But they know people who you don't know. Show them the target list. Are you familiar with these firms? Do you know any lawyers that work at any of these firms? If yes, would you be willing to make an introduction to me to speak with one of those lawyers on my list? That is how you get a personal reference, or at least an introduction to an opportunity to speak with somebody at your target list. You can also cold email or cold contact somebody at this firm just to let them know that you're interested. You'll have a much higher chance of getting a job that way than to simply respond to a job posting with 100 other people, because nobody else is going to be contacting that law firm because there is no job posting. But you will have, and that could give you an advantage. So as soon as you have an opportunity to speak with any lawyer through what's typically referred to as an informational interview, or through some sort of introduction or connection, that is when you want to be very clear on your objective. You want to show the person that you're talking to that you're able and willing to take initiative. And you do that by saying, here are my list of firms that I might be interested in working with. Do you happen to know anybody that works at these firms? These are the types of projects I'd like to start working on. You're going to be talking about all the types of matters that are very typical within the objective that you have. And you want to be talking about them so that you can prove to the person you're interviewing with that you have the vocabulary, that you have the understanding of the type of work you're interested in, and that you've already done the research as to the firms that probably offer this. And everybody you talk to, you could also say, by the way, is there a firm that you know of that's not on this list that you think I should add to the list? And guess what? If they know of the firm, it's because they know of a lawyer that works there. So they'll be able to make a recommendation. I can tell you that if you do 10 or 15 or more of these informational interviews, you will very likely find the kind of job that you're looking for right within your objective. So go through that process as your primary job search. That is by far the most effective way to land your first law job in an area of law that you want to practice. I'll say lastly, you should prioritize experience and mentorship over compensation. Your first law job will set you on a trajectory to gain experience in a particular area of the law that interests you. The experience is so much more valuable than the money at that level. The mentorship from somebody who's competent and successful and who is 5, 10, 15 years down the road of where you want to be, that is worth gold. You do not want to focus on whether or not they're going to pay you $20 an hour or $30 an hour or whatever. It's nice to have that income, but I'm just telling you, it's small dollars compared to what you'll gain from the experience and the mentorship. And lastly, think of everything from the interviewer's perspective. You're going to be dealing with people like me, people who are in their 40s and 50s, Gen X, and possibly even baby boomers. And I can tell you right now, from our perspective, one of the things that is going to stand out from new graduates is, are you willing to work hard? Are you willing to take initiative? Are you willing to do something that all of your peers are not willing to do? Can you prove to us that you're really serious about learning, contributing, making a contribution of value to the firm and developing yourself as a lawyer? Are you that kind of person? Rather than, the answer of, I'm not exactly sure what I want. Do you allow remote working? How many hours do I have to work every single week? Do you have billable hour requirements? I need to take time off for personal care. These are the types of statements that we're hearing that I can just tell you make us as experienced lawyers just absolutely cringe. You have to make sure you understand where we're coming from. You may not want to hear this, but the reason I'm telling you this is to help you land your first law job. And if you don't understand and listen to these characteristics, you will not land your first law job. You will make a fatal error in the interview. So be cognizant of who the interviewer is and the position that they're going to be in, which is they're going to spend probably more time teaching you than the value that you're going to contribute. They're going to have to pay you money. They're going to have to take on the risk of employing somebody in a state that is usually not very employer friendly, especially if it's in California. So bringing on a new associate or even a law clerk is generally considered a liability, a time suck, a money suck. It's not something that most lawyers in medium and large size law firms want to do. So you really have to be an asset instead of a liability. So be very clear on your position and your intent and the way that you articulate your interest in being part of that firm and being a contributor. So that's it for this video on how to land your first law job. If you have any questions, put them in the comments section. I'll be happy to respond.